Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be discussing the John Wick saga, which has like 5 movies. Yeah, so let's get on with the show because I am sick of doing these repetitive intros. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It's just a great action movie with some really well choreographed fight scenes. It's the one with the most plot in it, and John Wick has a great arc. Keanu Reeves does a pretty good job playing a retired hitman. And this feels like the opposite movie compared to what he's like in real life. Well, mostly. His character is compassionate, to animals and people that, he knows. Actually nice people, though. But he's not very forgiving towards bad people, though. He's a really good character who develops more as the movie goes on, and by the end you really feel for him, and once he gets another dog again you feel immensely satisfied. Overall, this movie is solid. Great film all around. An action classic for sure. 8 out of 10. Let's move on. I didn't enjoy this film as much as the first one, but I still like this movie as its own thing. For a while it was pretty slow, but near the end it got crazy, and the ending set up chapter 3 so well. It bumped it up so much. I was wondering if the movie was just going to be mindless and tough action, but no, it ended up being significantly better than that, mainly because of that ending. The action carries most of it for sure, but the plot is right behind it. It takes a back seat for a bit, but then locks the heck in by the time the movie's over, and you feel so overwhelmed with so much adrenaline that you want to watch the next one immediately. 7.5 out of 10. Let's move on. This movie was great. It's critically not as good as the first one, but I still really enjoyed it from beginning to end. The action was really great, and the movie has so much aura and sauce to put it all together, really. It's pretty much just action the whole time. It has a plot, but not much character development, and that's okay. It's a John Wick movie, so what do you expect at this point? 8 out of 10, it's very enjoyable. Now on to chapter 4. Bro, this movie was peak. Felt like the best way to conclude this entire franchise, and every movie's been building up to it since the very start. The idea of death is very well established here, and Keanu Reeves does a great job playing John Wick for one last time. The emotion in this movie is really felt, and you can tell Chad Stahelski is trying to convey that idea throughout the whole film, and it really shows. Like I have said earlier, this felt like the best way to conclude this chapter of John's life, and we will probably see Keanu Reeves don the suit many times for years to come after this final film's release, but I hope it never downplays this arc. Keanu Reeves was just so good for this character, and I firmly stand by that. Overall, this movie was just great. It had a lot of great stakes, great character development, great action especially, and just a great conclusion to the John Wick franchise. I really like this movie, and I'd recommend this and the other films before it to anyone who likes action films. It is just such an enjoyable thrill ride of a movie, and I firmly stand by that. 9 out of 10. It was just such a great movie. I highly recommend it. Please subscribe. Overall, this movie was great. It's just such an enjoyable addition to the franchise. It's the weakest one for sure, mainly because the rest are just so good, but even then, this movie still kicks a lot of butt. Ana de Armas is meant for these kind of movies, and her character is very well written. Unlike some protagonists in fiction, she actually has flaws and takes a bit for her to actually take out bad guys. A writing technique that I actually really appreciate, especially in this modern era where most characters are pretty bland and unrealistically flawless and can beat everyone in a fight without any real training. I'm looking at you, Ray Skywalker. No. Hopefully anyone can agree with me on this. Anyways, I really appreciated how this movie rebelled against that trope in fiction, because it needs to stop and is getting mad geeked. Stop making characters liked by everybody in the first minute of screen time, please. You gotta have some variety, unless they are somehow really developed, which should be later in the storyline anyway. But my point still stands is that this movie made a name for itself in the action movie genre, and proved that you can write characters well if you actually lock in and make them down to earth and relatable, and have some form of human traits to them so people can like them, Because if characters win every fight with no difficulty whatsoever, the audience can't really relate, There is no link between a protagonist and the watchers if there is no relatability. And if there is no relatability, then the character fails on all fronts in terms of writing.
Ow!
Anyways, my rant is done. Let's move into talking about this film now. Overall, this movie was solid. Not perfect, but still an enjoyable watch through and through. It's also actually a reasonable spin-off for the franchise moving forward on top of this as well. So seeing a sequel actually have a valid reason to be made makes me very happy inside and warms my heart to the fullest extent. John Wick 2 set up the potential for the spin-off really well, I must say, and it connects John Wick 2 and 3 in a really nice way that mostly doesn't contradict the latter. I do reckon John's appearance did drag in some areas, but I reckon his inclusion was valid to an extent. Keanu Reeves is just so good in this role that he weirdly steals the show, which is what makes his appearance drag to me. Seeing his fight with Eve made sense, but he should have left after that. I could tell they probably kept him in because of Reeves' contract, but it still is pretty dragged regardless. They could have maybe have kept him in the film in a better way, but I'm not super angry about this, just overwhelmed by his appearance to the point where I low-key want him to be in it less. Because while I don't need to see him a lot in a spin-off, mind you, where I can just watch his own solo films instead, I don't hate this, but I reckon they could have cut down on his appearance a bit. But aside from that, seeing him in this movie was good, and Keanu Reeves obviously did a great job, even if he wasn't 100% needed for this movie to be good. Anyways, enough yapping from me, let's move on. Overall, this movie was very action-packed. As a whole, I reckon the fight scenes were very well choreographed. I mean, I'm not surprised, this is John Wick we are talking about here, but I still was relatively engaged with every single action set piece that occurred in this movie, and I stand by that. Nothing really much else to say on that front. Just good fight scenes, I just don't expect anything more. I was entertained, so it deserves praise for that. Overall, this movie was great. Not perfect, but still a very enjoyable watch from beginning to end. I loved it. I'd give it like a solid 7.5 out of 10. It's a very good time overall. So those were my reviews on all of the John Wick movies. Overall, I'd recommend them to people who want something different from action franchises in their life because these movies are worth a try. I'd highly recommend all of these films. None of them are perfect deep down, but are some of the best action films I have seen in a long while, and I firmly stand by that. If you haven't seen these movies, I'd highly recommend them, and until next time, please stay tuned for my next video, and please give this video a like and subscribe. Peace, y'all.